Awaken Light Audio. Awaken your mind. Ignite your light.
Fight back when they try to break you. Unshakable mental strength lessons. What do you do when life hits you so hard you forget who you are? What if your greatest strength is forged in the very fire that tried to destroy you? And what if being broken isn't the end, but the beginning of something unshakable within you? There comes a point in every journey where the world feels too heavy, too cruel, too loud, where every setback whispers, "You're not strong enough," where every failure tries to convince you to give up. But here's the truth. You're not broken. You're being forged. This is your call to fight back, not with noise, not with pride, but with mental strength so deep the world can no longer shake you. This is not just about survival. It's about becoming unbreakable. Chapter 1. The fall is not the end. You're not breaking, you're becoming. It starts quietly. One setback, one betrayal, one unexpected blow that knocks the breath out of your life. At first, you think it's just a moment, a hard day, a passing storm, but then the pain lingers. You stop recognizing yourself in the mirror. You wake up with a weight on your chest and a voice in your mind saying, "You're done, you lost, you'll never come back from this." But that voice, it's wrong. Because the fall is not the end. It's the forge. Every powerful soul has fallen. Every unshakable person you admire has had their knees hit the dirt. The difference: they didn't let the fall define them. They used it to refine them. Falling does not mean failure. Pain does not mean weakness. Silence does not mean surrender. It just means you're in the part of the story where things get real, where strength breaks away, and something deeper begins to awaken. He was there too, the man this story is about. He had been proud, disciplined, respected. But when everything collapsed, his career, his relationships, his image, he was left with only one thing, himself. No applause, no backup, no one coming to save him. And in that silence, he had to decide. Will I let this break me, or will I rebuild from here? The first practice: redefine the fall. Ask yourself, what am I calling a failure that may actually be a lesson? What story have I been telling myself about this pain? What if this isn't punishment, but preparation? Then write one sentence you'll carry with you from today forward. This is not the end of me. This is the beginning of something stronger. Read it every morning, because your words shape your comeback. Remind yourself, I may be down, but I'm not done. The fall didn't end me, it revealed me, and I am building from here. Chapter 2. Mental Armor. Building unshakable mindset under pressure. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just refusing to break. They tested him. Not with weapons, but with silence, with betrayal, with expectations too high to meet, and punishments too harsh when he failed. They didn't have to break his body. They just needed to break his belief, because once the mind folds, the body follows. But he didn't fold. Why? Because he learned something most never do. The mind is a muscle, and pain is its gym. Mental strength isn't built in comfort. It's built in the pressure you don't run from. It's carved in the days where no one believes in you, not even you. It's shaped in the moments where all you have is one choice: stand or shatter. So he stood, not because he felt ready, but because he refused to surrender his mind to circumstances. He developed a new kind of training, not physical, mental. Each time life threw chaos, he responded with clarity. Each time they tried to confuse him, he returned to his core values. Each time someone tried to trigger him, he responded with stillness. Because power isn't loud, it's controlled. True. Strength is measured by what doesn't shake you anymore. Second practice: build your mental armor. Write down 3 things that have been emotionally shaking you lately for each one. Ask yourself, why does this affect me so deeply? What belief is being threatened? What can I anchor to even when this storm hits again? Then, repeat this phrase out loud, like a personal code. They can't break me because they don't build me. You must become the architect of your inner world, or someone else will own the blueprint. Talk to yourself. My peace is not up for negotiation. My strength isn't performative. It's internal, it's disciplined, and it's unshakable. Chapter 3. The Power of Controlled Response. Don't give them what they want. Not everything deserves your reaction. They tried to provoke him, to pull him into their chaos, to watch him explode, lose control, fall apart, so they could say, "See, he's weak, he's emotional, he's unstable." But he didn't give them what they wanted. He didn't lash out. He didn't explain himself. He didn't perform. He did something stronger, something most men are never taught to do. He paused. He breathed. He chose his response. There's a kind of strength no one applauds, the kind that chooses peace over pride, that walks away. Not because you're scared, but because your energy is too sacred to waste. Every time you react, you hand someone else your power. Your mind becomes their battlefield. Emotions become their playground. But when you stop reacting to everything, you stop being controlled by anything. He didn't stop feeling. He didn't stop caring. He just stopped bleeding for people who kept stabbing him. And that's when the shift happened. He was no longer driven by triggers. He became centered in purpose. And from that place, he could think, lead, and win. Not because he yelled, but because he refused to be moved by small minds. The third practice response: discipline. Think of a person or situation that keeps triggering you. Now ask, what are they actually trying to pull out of me? What do I lose every time I react emotionally? What would happen if I responded with stillness and strength instead? Then try this mantra. When conflict arises, they want my reaction. I'll give them silence. I move when I decide, not when they push. My strength is not proven by what I fight, it's revealed by what I refuse to fight. I do not perform, I do not defend. I respond with power, not panic. Chapter 4. When they doubt you, turn disrespect into fuel. They laughed because they couldn't see it. You'll rise because you never needed them to. They underestimated him. They rolled their eyes, ignored his voice, dismissed his vision. Some even hoped he'd fail, not because he was wrong, but because he reminded them of what they never had the courage to try. But he didn't argue. He didn't explain. He didn't beg them to see his potential. He just went to work. There's a strange kind of fuel hidden in being doubted when they don't believe in you. But you keep showing up when they mock your dream, but you keep building it brick by brick. When they look away and you look inward, doubt is not your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you how much you still believe in yourself when no one else does. It asks, do you need applause to move, or is your vision enough? He took every insult, every "you'll never make it," every sarcastic laugh, and turned it into reps. Reps of resilience, reps of focus, reps of unshakable identity. They said he was too soft, too quiet, too different. He turned it into strength. They couldn't see coming, because by the time they realized he was serious, he was already unbreakable. The next practice: turn doubt into drive. List 3 people or moments where you felt dismissed, disrespected, or overlooked. Now ask, what was I being called to prove to myself in that moment? How much power have I given to their opinion, and how do I reclaim it? What would it look like to use their doubt as discipline? Repeat to yourself daily, your doubt is not my problem. Your silence is not my ceiling. I rise anyway. I don't grow to prove you wrong. I grow because I know I'm right. About me, you don't have to see it. You don't have to clap. By the time you notice, I'll already be unstoppable. Chapter 5. Train in the dark. Prepare when no one is watching. If you only work when they're watching, you're already weak. He trained when no one asked him to, when no one cared, when no one believed he was going anywhere. And that's why he got there. Because while they were sleeping, scrolling, talking, he was building not for the claps, not for the likes, but for the day. They could no longer ignore what he built in silence. Discipline is born in the dark, in the hours no one sees, in the repetitions no one claps for, in the failures no one comforts. You through the spotlight doesn't make you strong. It only reveals what you built in the shadows. This is the phase where most people quit because it feels like nothing is working, like no one cares, like your effort is invisible. But the real ones, they know something powerful. The grind is supposed to be lonely. Because that loneliness forces you to decide, do I want it for them or do I want it for me? He stopped looking around for permission, stopped waiting for motivation. He made discipline his identity. Rain or shine, tired or focused, he trained, he wrote, he studied, he prepared, not for applause, but for arrival. Another practice, commit to the shadows. Ask yourself, what goal have I been delaying until someone notices? Where am I still waiting for permission to go all in? How would I train if I knew the spotlight would never come? Now commit to 30 days of silent work. No updates, no posts, just you versus your standard and repeat. I don't need the lights on to shine. I shine from within. You won't see me coming because I didn't need your eyes to keep going. By the time the world watches, I'll be ready. Because I trained in the dark and I made the shadows my strength. Chapter 6. Rise without revenge, evolve past their expectations. The greatest revenge is no revenge at all. They expected him to break. They wanted him to crawl back. They hoped he'd stay angry, bitter, obsessed with proving them wrong. But he didn't. He didn't argue, didn't clap back, didn't post about his comeback. He just rose. Not for revenge, not for applause, but because growth became his obsession, not retaliation. Revenge feels good in the short term, but it keeps you tethered to the people who hurt you. It locks your focus on the past, and every time you try to show them, you're still performing for them. Spite, you rise on your own terms. You're no longer reacting, you're redefining. He realized something. I don't want to beat them. I want to become so far evolved that I don't even think about them anymore. That's when true peace arrived. Not because they changed, but because he outgrew the need for revenge, and when they saw him again, he didn't look back. He didn't gloat. He didn't say a word. His silence screamed, I healed. Without you, I succeeded. Without you, I freed myself. Without you. One more practice. Let go to level up. Ask yourself, who am I secretly still trying to prove something to? How much energy do I spend rehearsing imaginary revenge? What would it feel like to rise without the weight of resentment? Now write one sentence you'll live by. I don't compete with the past. I evolve beyond it. Then live in a way where your results speak louder than your responses. Tell yourself, I don't rise to hurt you. I rise to heal me. No revenge, no noise, just growth. Pure, undeniable, unstoppable. Chapter 7. Unbreakable. Who you become when you refuse to quit. You were never meant to stay broken. You were meant to rise unshaken. This is not the same man, not the one who fell, not the one who doubted, not the one who begged to be seen. This man was rebuilt in silence, in struggle, in the dark. No shortcuts, no applause, just repetition. And refusal. Refusal to quit. Refusal to believe the lies. Refusal to surrender to their version of him. You don't become unbreakable by avoiding pain. You become unbreakable by walking through it and refusing to let it take your identity. You become unbreakable by healing what they tried to destroy, by facing what they hoped you'd bury, by rising on days that begged you to stay down. Every scar became part of his armor. Every failure became his fuel. Every silence became his sanctuary. And now, there's nothing left to prove, because when you survive the fire without losing your soul, you don't need validation anymore. You are the validation. He no longer flinches when the world gets loud, no longer bends when life pushes hard. He stands, still, present, powerful, not because he's invincible, but because he's trained to never quit. The last practice: honor your inner warrior. Ask yourself, who have I become through this journey? What parts of me were forged, not born? How do I now define strength, not by appearance, but by endurance? Now, write your own warrior code, not for the world, but for your own reflection. Something like, I've been broken, but I didn't stay there. I've been doubted, but I kept showing up. I don't need your permission. I don't need your spotlight. Am unbreakable because I never gave up. Finally, remind yourself, I don't shout anymore. I don't chase anymore. I don't need to be seen to be sure. I just show up with scars, with strength, and with a mind you can't move, because I'm not performing. I'm becoming unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable.
Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions. Send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.